Hey, what's up, YouTube? Are you struggling to lose some body fat? If so, it's likely you might be making one of the mistakes that we're going to talk about in this video. My name is Troy. I'm a former fat guy, and I'm sharing my story through this channel with the hope that it might help somebody else. And if you support me in that, what I ask is that you subscribe to my channel. Doesn't cost you a thing, but it means the world to me. So let's talk about it. If you're trying and you feel like maybe you're not where you should be at this point in terms of your fat loss, then it's likely you might be making one of these small mistakes. And if you make some adjustments in one of these areas, you might see huge progress. It might be like the difference between driving a motorcycle or taking a rocket ship if you're trying to get to the moon, if that makes sense. So, number one, psychological issues around making it much harder on ourselves than it needs to be. Now, one way that I think of this is in terms of the story that you tell yourself about yourself. And I feel like when we rely on willpower and things like that, and we put too much emphasis on that concept, willpower, I feel like it makes it harder to stay the course on our journey. Because what can happen, I feel like, if our story isn't correct, right? If it's not supportive, then what we can end up doing is self-sabotaging. So, like even body image stuff, sometimes I feel like maybe we can be too critical of ourselves. We can be a little too hard on ourselves. We compare ourselves to other people, and they're in a different place in terms of, I hate to use the phrase their journey, but it is what it is. You know, I know a lot of really fit people who are not on a diet. They eat whatever they want. And you can do that if you're in a place where you're just pretty much maintaining, right? They call it maintenance. But if you're in a place where you want to make some changes, then you have to change some things. And so what that means sometimes is you have to be a little bit uncomfortable. And you know, we have to try to do that in a way so that it's sustainable, so we can do it for long enough to see the changes that we want to see. So with that, let's be kind to ourselves and just consider the importance of psychology or mindset. And I'd never tell you what to think, but I would tell you it's worth exploring. So that's number one. Next, and it has to do a lot with mindset also, but it's emotional, right? Emotional issues is different for everyone. But have you ever heard of the term emotional eating? The way I would describe that is maybe eating to fill a void, right? Or like, let's say you've had a tough day at work, and so to soothe some of that discomfort that you're feeling from your tough day at work, you consume. And for me, that's a way to overeat, right? Eat everything, just like that void, right? That horrible feeling that you have after a hard day of work. You can't fill that void with food. At least I can't, you know, and I really can hurt my physique. And by doing this, it can affect the story that I'm telling myself about myself, right? Because I feel bad. I am sabotaging myself. And with that comes a lot of shame. And I feel like it's easy to get caught up in that cycle. It's a vicious cycle. So consider emotional eating. If you're struggling on your journey, right, to lose some weight, then take a look at some of those times when maybe you're eating that thing that's not supportive of your goals, and like maybe why are we doing that? And sometimes it's because we don't feel good. We feel bad, so we eat this thing to feel better. And And if we want to change that, then maybe there's some type of replacement behavior or activity that we could explore to make ourselves feel better as opposed to eating our feelings. Next, lifestyle stuff, right? I feel like, well, I don't know. Have you ever heard of the phrase, culture eats strategy for breakfast? Well, think about the people around you, your friends, your family, like your work, your job. How much time do you spend there commuting to and from? And that takes a lot of time. And so lifestyle really is an important thing to consider, and it can be a hurdle for some people. Trust me, I understand. I have to punch that time clock. And when you're a 9-to-5 wage slave, it doesn't leave a whole lot of room in your life to be able to, go do cardio or lift weights or all of those things, those wellness practices. They take a lot of time. And I understand that we have other priorities, and everyone's lifestyle, in terms of that, is a little bit different. It all looks a little bit different based on who you are and your situation, but it's worth considering and examining and really just trying to optimize your environment and set yourself up for success in that regard in a way that's right for you and your situation. Next, financial. Food costs money. Healthy food a lot of times, right, costs more money, and there's accessibility issues that come into play here as well. And what I notice is that I can go to the convenience store or I can go to the fast food place and $5 fills my belly. And so there are financial roadblocks around making progress sometimes. So examine that, and what I want you to know, if that's you and finances are an issue that are standing in the way between you and success on your fitness journey, consider the fact that for a few dollars you can have brown rice and lentils that you cook in a rice cooker. And at most convenience stores, you can get a carton of eggs for a few bucks, right? And so you have some protein there, some healthy fats, some good carbs. And I know a lot of guys who are pretty jacked just from eating like rice and beans. There's something about that mixture that is synergistic for building muscle. And, so there are some pretty jacked vegetarian bros out there. And the protein foods are expensive, and they're a really good tool on your weight loss journey because they're filling. They don't have a lot of impact, so you can eat a good amount of it, and it doesn't really mess up your physique, and you can continue to lose body fat. But it's expensive, and I understand that. But what I want you to know is don't fall for the trap of telling yourself that because I don't have a lot of money, it means that I can't make progress on my fitness journey, because it's not true. And protein powder and things like that are expensive. Protein foods, right? Grass-fed beef. This stuff is expensive. But there's a way that you can do it if it's important to you. And if you have the $5 or whatever it is, these days, I guess at McDonald's it's $20, right? You can get some chicken and some brown rice for that amount of money. So financial things, something to consider. Next. Social things, guys. There's sometimes a lot of peer pressure, I notice, to consume foods that are maybe not supportive. I notice a lot of times there is peer pressure to consume alcohol. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole around alcohol, but what I notice for me is that when I consume alcohol, it has a really negative effect on my fitness level. Both my look and my ability to be able to make good choices around what I eat. I notice that when I consume alcohol, the floodgates just open. Now that's me. Some people can consume alcohol and they're in great shape, and everyone is different, and everything in moderation, I say. But sometimes abstinence is easier than moderation. And when you have a lot of people around you, right, social issues, sometimes at work you feel pressure to consume, whatever it may be. And the invitation is just to be strong around that. I know that it's not easy, but if people care about you, then they'll support you in making those choices, and they will be supportive of you in exploring different ways of sort of thinking, being, and doing around consuming stuff. They shouldn't be forcing things on you. So that doesn't feel good for me, and I know that sometimes it can be a roadblock for people, and you feel like you want to eat that, whatever it is, the birthday cake to show that you care about your loved one or your friend or whatever. Or you want to, cheers with some alcohol or whatever. But if it's going to open the floodgates, and if it's going to really, get you off track, then you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? If it's happening all the time, it could be the thing that's holding you back. Next, medical issues. Now, this can be something entirely out of your control, but people can sometimes have issues with things like underactive thyroid. There can be sex hormone issues, and I'm not a doctor, but I do know that some of these things can really make it hard for you to lose weight, to build muscle, to have the energy to do the things that you need to do. And so with that, you got to go see your doctor. You got to get blood work. And, when it comes to that, everyone's in a little bit of a different situation. But if you're really feeling like you're doing everything right and you're trying hard and you just feel like you're not making progress, it might be that there is something going on with your body that is making it hard for you. You might have a slow metabolism because of X, Y, Z that maybe you should talk to your doctor about. You should be getting some blood work done every now and then and sort of tracking those things. So it's worth considering, guys. Next, dietary knowledge. So these days, right, you have access to the internet. You can watch videos like this on YouTube. Videos much better than this, right? But it's incredible. You have access to knowledge, guys. So it's really cool. And in the beginning of my journey, the internet didn't exist yet. And so where I came across knowledge was good mentors. I was very lucky to have people guide me. And magazines, Men's Health magazine, and some of the fitness magazines had information. And I can remember a time when I would go to the fast food drive-through and I would be ordering a fillet of fish, right? Or I would be getting some sort of processed chicken product, and I thought I was making good choices just because the word fish or the word chicken was in the item. I thought because of that, that, it was a protein food. And if I went to the gym, then, this plus that equaled I would be jacked and shredded. And I really had no understanding around macronutrients or even, the types of things that I should be consuming nutritionally, specifically food. I was clueless. And, your body doesn't come with an instruction manual. I don't know, were you issued one? I wasn't. So I'm still learning about myself. But it was helpful to hear about some of the things that were working well for other people. And definitely having access to that knowledge is important. And it's possible that you could be doing all the right things according to what you know right now and what you think is wrong. And I guarantee you guys, where I'm at in my journey right now, I guarantee you that there are some things that I think that are wrong because so much of it is experimenting, but just keeping an open mind around that. Sometimes it's lack of knowledge. It's an easy one to fix. Watch these videos, subscribe to my channel, and let's nerd out around it together. Next, portion sizes, guys. In the beginning of my journey, and still to this day, I have a propensity towards overeating. I like to feel full. I'm a empty void. If I'm emotional eating, trying to fill that void, it will never happen. So I can be prone to overeating, and I think that we're so fortunate to have access to so much food that it makes it easy to overeat. And so we have to watch our portion sizes. There's a lot of ways we can do this. I've gotten out the food scale before, and I've weighed and measured everything. And that could be helpful sometimes to learn like what an actual portion size actually looks like. It can be very enlightening. And then we have to find a way somehow to get used to eating a little bit less. And so one way that I did that, it seems a little crazy because it's probably processed food and full of chemicals and horrible, but for me, I was 333 pounds and I needed something drastic to help me lose weight. So I started with Healthy Choice freezer meals. And that was because they were frozen and they were very small. And so I would say, okay, fat boy, we will allow you to have 2 of these freezer meals. And then once it was over, I ate it and I would have to walk away. I'd have to be done. I had to find a way to eat a little less. And then over time, what you notice is that you get used to eating a little bit less. It's no big deal. It just becomes your normal thing. You can get used to stuff. You just have to do it. You have to force yourself to do it for a little while. And then you gain confidence in yourself. You can eat a little bit less. And if you're an overeater like me, experiment with ways of doing that, ways that feel right for you. Next, calories. I'm not a math guy. And like I said, it drives me crazy to try to add things up and track things all the time, right? And track my calories. But if you're taking in too many calories, right, there is a sort of numbers component to it. If you're taking in too many calories, you're not going to be able to lose weight, lose body fat if that's your goal. So you can't just be completely sort of not paying attention to caloric intake, i.e. how much food you're eating. But at the same time, I would invite you not to drive yourself crazy about calories. I see people do this sometimes. I feel like they drive themselves crazy about that calorie concept. And sometimes they focus too much on that and not enough on what they're eating, their macros. And there's different schools of thought out there, guys, but I just feel like, 100 calories of steak is going to have a different impact on your body than 100 calories of Reese's cups. And so sometimes when people focus so much on the calories, they don't focus enough on the macros, or they lose sight of that. And I feel like it's a good idea to set yourself up to feel full in your diet. So set it up so that you're eating a lot of protein and stuff like that so that you can feel full. You can feel like you're giving yourself a lot of food, right? You're not depriving yourself. And I noticed that if I'm eating the right foods, I can eat a lot of them and I don't have to really count calories so much. So it's just something to consider. Guys, look for the low-hanging fruit, okay? You can do this. And people do it all the time. More people are successful at this than fail. And the way that you fail at this is to quit. So be kind to yourself. It shouldn't be super hard, but it's not easy. But I know for sure that you can do it. And I love you guys. If you've watched the video this far, you got to hit that subscribe button. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear what's going well for you in the comments. Love y'all, my former fat guys out there, right? Let's build this community. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.